welcome to yet another episode of First World Problematic. I'm here with Wyatt Figueredo and our guest co-host, Panji Pragiwaksono.
Right here.
Yeah, and today we've got a very special guest with us. We've got the founder of Rap Genius, Everypedia, Hella Doge, and now Communistagram. We've got Mahbod on the line here.
Was really good.
He came here all the way from Williamsburg, so you know it's the real deal. That's how we know the podcast made it. He came all the way from the water.
I heard about y'all. I heard about, and Serbia. I've known you for I think like since you were like a teenager.
Yes, I was a little baby.
How'd you guys meet? I was about to ask that.
Serbia was one of the earliest Everpedia editors, but she never got that into editing. But she would come and chill and party with us. But she made the page for Rickrolling. That was cool.
Oh yeah, that was a fun
time. She made the wiki for Rickrolling. Which now I wonder if it has a Wikipedia.
Do you want to be closer? Or we want to get the audio? Yeah. But yeah, no, dude, that was a good time. Also, I was like connected through Rap Genius. Like I knew Tom and Ilan somehow too. Because I did like some editing when they started like the web annotation, and it was just such a weird circle that I knew about Mahbod, and then I met him through another startup, like completely unrelated. So it's a very interesting.
Wait, so Serbi, were you one of the first people on Rap Genius too to be saying what lyrics means? Lyrics mean?
Yes.
Were you actually?
Yes. But not the N-word lyrics.
You're saying that you were using the web annotator.
The web annotator,
That wasn't for lyrics. That was
more like, so you've got like Shakespeare annotation, and that's what I did, a lot of Shakespeare annotation, and then I did, what was it? They did like a lot of academic papers and a lot of like Indian like Wikipedia stuff. So that's what Everypedia was trying to do a little bit as well. Is like just parse through Wikipedia and like make a more like people centric version of Wikipedia.
Yeah, so I think we all know Genius, but if you could tell us more about the others as well, I would love to know. Like Everpedia, it sounds like it's something like Genius, but it has annotations for all kinds of literature and text. Is that correct?
Everpedia became many things. First, we just wanted to make a chill Wikipedia. I liked it because my Wikipedia page got deleted. A lot of people, more people have deleted Wikipedia pages than have actual Wikipedia pages.
I love that.
Just
the best stuff or start out of just like petty, like, oh, I'm gonna get them.
I'm very petty. Yeah, that's all I want to do. Now, I want to start Communistagram now because I hate Zuck, so I want to take down Zuck.
We'll be your first users.
He's been my enemy. I was actually the first person to talk shit about him in 2012. And back then, everyone thought that he's like an angel. So then now everyone hates him. It's like, I started that.
I remember there was a
you
lot
were ahead
of press
of the
around
curve.
that. Yeah.
Right.
No, Mahbod.
You started the meta.
I met him in person. So we had been messaging on Facebook. And he said that he likes Genius. And then I met him in person. And I tried to give him a Genius shirt. And he said, give it to my assistant.
Oh.
And it was American Apparel. V-neck. So I'm like, if you're not going to take my American Apparel V-neck startup tee, fuck you.
I will buy that rejected, Zuck t-shirt for like $1 million right now.
I wonder if I still have them. Yeah, I used to have so many Rap Genius t-shirts, and now they're all, I don't even know if I have. Maybe. Well, I don't wear t-shirts anymore, so.
Yeah, your style has elevated.
Yeah. These days, I use the old Poetry Genius shirts to like wipe my sweat on the elliptical. That's really.
Hey, you're not in LA anymore. There's no athleisure here, baby.
I don't have any more fuck swag shirts. That's the thing. Rap Genius had shirts that said fuck swag. So you see a lot of rappers and like Silicon Valley people who have photographs. They're wearing a T-shirt that says fuck swag.
I mean, fuck swag is pretty self-explanatory, but how'd you come up with that?
So Tom, the CEO, got a T-shirt that said fuck swag. It was popular. Like a lot of people in Brooklyn were wearing shirts that said fuck swag.
Oh, it's like anti-social club, something like that.
No, basically saying like fuck the word swag, because everyone was saying the word swag, which my friend started, Base God. Mm-hmm. So that someone made T-shirts in New York, because this is not a good city. that said "fuck swag." So I saw his shirt and I'm like, bro, fuck swag. like basically what I was trying to say is swag. Like,
I love how all of
It was a
Mahbod's
pro-swag.
achievements are like so petty and just so genius in that other way. Like, did Kanye wear that? Did you take him as a present at his
did
wedding?
Kanye ever see fuck? No, that was too late. Fuck swag was early Rap Genius, and then Kanye was chilling with us in the Decadence.
Don't you think like most of the great ideas started out with something that people wouldn't think of it as being something? You know what I'm saying? Like a petty idea, and then it becomes something big, like it becomes something huge. Don't you feel it? Almost good ideas are all like that.
It's all just based on porn. Everyone they want a new way to look at porn, and then it's a huge breakthrough.
Hey, everything is sex and sex is power, baby. House of Cards.
Yeah, and I guess when you started to position yourself, you know, like against Zuckerberg, do you feel like you kind of like started a movement? Like people were saying, "Yo, Mahbod have been doing this for a very long time. He kind of sensed how Zuckerberg was since for a very long time." And did you feel like people are, you know, gravitating towards
him
yourself?
not passing my smell test really did not bode well for him. I think not to say that like I'm influential, but people are influenced with what I say in spite of themselves. So people were just like, you know, the crazy Rap Genius guy doesn't fuck with. And then he was showing me love. You have no idea. Like, so I started Rap Genius because I saw The Social Network. I became obsessed with that. I was one of the first users of Facebook. I was also one of the first power users of Facebook. Like, everyone was like, "You're clogging my feed. Why are you posting so much?"
Oh, you're the first one
I
to
was
do
like,
that.
"Fuck you. This is my art." So, and then I met him. My dream was for Facebook to buy Rap Genius. And he might have done it. I might have fucked it all up. I could be a really rich man right now.
Because
I have almost nothing.
If you didn't take the shirt thing personally, maybe. I
should have
joking.
just been more respectful, but part of it is also because he went to Harvard, so I felt the Harvard-Yale beef. It's like Crips and Bloods, and then also I really wanted to go to Harvard, so I got rejected. So
Didn't you?
I was very jealous of him.
I thought like didn't you started out like in jest, like it was just, you know, messing around with you know, Zuck, and then he kind of felt like, oh, Mahbod was serious about this, and then he, you know, he pulled himself away from you and from Rap Genius.
Yeah, low key, I was always joking, but maybe I wasn't joking. Maybe like deep down, I wouldn't have made that joke if he would have actually showed me love. Because like one thing about me, I don't fuck with frenemies. Like if you love me, you need to love me with unadulterated, just like every part of your soul. And also, I kind of got fed up that he didn't already buy it. Like he was sending me Facebook messages. He sent a Facebook message. He's like, "Hey, Genius started with rap. Facebook started with college." He's like, "I look up all my Eminem lyrics." But then he's like, "Yeah, I use your site once a week." That's what he said to me. I'm like, "Oh, that's a nice sideways compliment. Like, why not just tell me you use my site every day? Just lie." I use it. That's what I responded. I'm like, "Dude, I use your site every day."
Oh no! I remember Mahbod actually sent me Zuck's email when we were at Everpedia, and he was like, "Send him whatever email you want. I don't care. I hate him." It was a good time. Yeah, maybe we can mass email him now, but now it's meta.com.
I had to send him an apology email, and Ben Horowitz was like, "Okay, are you ready? It's mark@facebook.com."
No one could have guessed that. Nobody could dox that one.
I was like, "Zuck father, I'm so sorry."
Sorry to all your lizard people.
He didn't even. Did he reply or not? I forgot if he replied or not.
His assistant probably replied and asked for that fucking T-shirt.
No, he does all of his own messages, and then the Facebook messages he sent me were him. I'm sure of it. He uses his own product, not as much as I do, but he uses his own product more than the CEO of Twitter didn't, or the founder of Twitter didn't use it until it became trendy again. But like overall, these guys don't give. At least he uses Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he blocked me on Instagram. That was
Oh wow,
dude, that's a
Well,
flex.
Yeah, I left the thing. I was like, he had like one of his kids wearing a VR helmet. So I was like, this is bad parenting. Let me go.
No, like you commented that?
Like, it got a lot of likes.
It's his own product. You're like, don't do that. That's bad for your kids.
The VR stuff, I think the VR stuff gives you a brain tumor, and I had brain tumors, so like I wouldn't ever wear one, and like I'm just waiting for the class actions to start. And I used to be a big investor in Facebook. I sold all of my Facebook stock right when they changed the name to Meta, which was basically the peak. And then ever since then, it's just been crashing. I don't post as much, so they lost their superstar.
Did you feel like you were saying about you were maybe it was just joking, but there were a little bit of a truth inside it, and that's how good jokes are, right? It's funny, but it's also based on truth.
And that's why maybe he was offended by the good parenting.
Yeah. But don't you think? I feel like the more I get to know you and the more I get to read about you, I feel like maybe you're supposed to do stand up. Because a lot of because a lot of the things that you said, had it been that you were a comic and you did it on stage, it would be perfectly fine.
It's my dream. Yeah, no, you're right. Maybe I can open for you or something.
Maybe not me. Maybe Serbian and Wyatt. Not me.
He's like, I'm too big. Yeah, maybe that.
No, I'm nobody here in New York. I'm just
Yeah, so guys, if you don't remember, Panji is the next president of Indonesia.
Why do you have to do this all the time, Serbia?
I was thinking like Serbia, like if they're listening, like we don't need to cover this again.
People are going to believe you when you say that all the time.
Well, that's how LeVar Ball did it, dude. You can speak it in existence, I guess, but
like all the write-in votes go to Panji, and he's president by proxy.
You're like I don't know, but SIP should be your campaign sticker, if you did. All right,
it's never going to happen. I'm sorry about that. They're just like to, mess around with me.
We need to legalize marijuana in Indonesia.
That's one of the plans. I've been getting a lot of sticks because of saying that. I was actually the first person who publicly said that we should legalize weed in it. Yeah, and
Fuck yeah.
I lost a lot of job opportunities. I was the brand ambassador for one of the biggest soap in Indonesia. But then he
lost that
pulled
soap money, Panji?
I lost that
That's
soap money.
money.
Yo, we were a third world country, man. A lot of the health problems in Indonesia is because Indonesians don't wash their hands, right? So it's a big thing, and I lost that because of my comments. I told the Indonesian government must have smoked weed at one point, and it became big, and I lost a lot of money. But you're right.
That is so crazy because in America you would gain a lot of money saying that.
Wait, so how close are you guys to legalizing weed in Indonesia?
Well, Malaysia is way more conservative than Indonesia, and they're already legalizing weed for medical purposes.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, and Indonesia, I guess it's 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, definitely, because good weed come from Indonesia. You want to do a startup?
Interesting.
I want to do a
selling
startup.
weed from Indonesia.
Oh yeah, startup like weed farms in Indonesia.
Yeah, Weedstagram.
All these like basic white girls go to weed farms in Indonesia. They're working for 3 months to feed like poor Indonesian babies weed.
Oh my God, we're here in Jakarta.
We're in Jakarta.
Bruh, all those Bali bitches, that's how they earn money for Bali.
Yeah. But why did you suddenly thought about that we're supposed to legalize weed in Indonesia? You just blurted it out.
I'm just always saying that. I'm always like, legalize weed.
Yeah.
That's why I don't go to Florida. Everyone's always telling me, come to Miami, but I don't really want to go to like a Republican.
But it's interesting enough. Indonesia they ban a lot of things, but we keep doing it anyway. Like recently, they banned premarital sex. Everybody's still fucking, and they're not allowed to smoke weed, but everybody still smokes weed in Indonesia. So I don't think we listen to the government.
How are they supposed to police premarital sex?
Well, it's kind of
like
weird.
Police raids. They just bust in.
Yeah, they do.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the police, and then they collaborate with the civil organization or whatever, and they go to places and they, jump into rooms like, what are you guys doing? You guys fucking?
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're like, no, it's just a blowjob. They're like, all right. Well, this is a warning.
Anal is allowed.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, what hole was it in?
Catholic, Indonesian Catholics.
That's so funny.
I'm a libertarian, so it's kind of weird for me I mean, I'm not. That's not entirely what I am, because like on the one hand, I want the government to ban a lot of stuff like gasoline or whatever, plastic. But in some ways, like for example, when Republicans are like get bothered by trans people, I'm always like, why does it bother?
Yeah, exactly.
And like, especially think that motherfuckers need to smoke bud, because like weed is the only good drug. I guess I'm down to ban some drugs. Like I'm down to ban Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
That's like every podcast right now. That's all they're talking about.
Are you serious?
Every single
Now we're talking about it
podcast,
too.
including Joe Rogan, including Lex Friedman, their latest episode is called the Ozempic episode.
Oh.
So
Is
what
that
does
like
it
the
do?
new hot drug?
It's a
Like
drug.
fentanyl's out,
It's
guys.
a drug that makes you thin, and supposedly everyone in Hollywood is taking it.
Where
and,
do
like,
I buy this?
in like 5 years they're gonna find out that it like gives you cancer and AIDS and like
Really?
Yeah.
I think
also
again
you
you're
inject it, so like you're
Ah.
mainlining.
yeah. You're always like ahead of the curve, including in drugs.
It's
No.
narrow
Knowledge.
as Rome. Like
I
right
just
now-
eat an earthworm, easier, faster. Like,
Oh,
does the
goodness.
job. Yeah. So, yeah, no, tell me. Okay, I'm really interested to know. You went to Kim and Kanye's wedding. How was
Engagement.
that?
Their
Engagement,
wedding,
yeah.
nobody went to, but their engagement hardly anyone went to. I was one of the only guests. It was me and like the creepy founder of YouTube.
The
And the
creepy.
interesting.
It was in San Francisco, so like no one cool was there. It was only like tech nerds and betas.
Yo, I've never heard anybody refer to the founders of YouTube as the creepy founders of YouTube. I'd never heard
I
of
don't
it.
fuck with him. He ended up.
I don't think
so
you fuck with anybody.
I really don't fuck with him, especially not anyone rich.
Yo, he is
Like,
throwing shade today.
We're good. We're good.
Calling out.
Yep. Ben Horowitz is going to listen to this and be like, I was about to fund First World Problematic, but not now.
Oh yeah.
No, but
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
and
don't-
also the craziest thing was he went to the engagement 2 weeks after he had brain cancer surgery.
what the fuck?
No, yeah, I should have sued them for that. But they needed me. They needed me for keeping up with the Kardashians with my swollen skull. I'm like standing next to Kim. My skull, half of my skull is like swollen to twice its size.
A lot of Keeping Up with the Kardashians cast is just out of surgery. So you really,
Everyone
nothing
thought
new.
It's plastic surgery. They thought that I had buccal fat removal. Back then, there was no such thing. That like when I went to their engagement party, there was still no buccal fat removal. So
So what was the engagement party like?
Yeah.
I was really disturbed. There was that guy who they ended up turning against, Jonathan Chabon.
Mm.
He just struck me. He was kind of like the salacious crumb.
Mm.
Like if like Kim is the Jabba the Hutt, and then he was just like he was like the little annoying mascot. And I
Who's
was just-
Kanye in this?
Kanye, I just kind of felt sorry for because at that point, and then I heard Yeezus. I'm like, good God, this is the worst music I've ever heard. And then they kept making me bump it. I was sitting with the Kardashians at like 4 different Yeezus concerts, and then now all of the Gen Z people think that it's like the best album ever
Yeah,
made.
I'm a Gen Z, and I do think Yeezus is top 3.
Well, just so you know, I was forced to listen to it, sitting next to the Kardashians, and I was like, Kanye's finally making ass music. 'Cause it's very
He was ahead of the curve on thinking Kanye's music was bad too.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, all of this now, like Jesus is King and Donda and stuff. I don't even know how people can listen to it.
Okay, so do you have a favorite Kanye song though, or Kanye
Not
album?
anymore.
Oh, really?
Not
I
anymore?
made a top 50 rappers list one time, and I put him as number 49, and people got really, really mad. And I'm like, honestly, I only put him as 49 because he invited me to his engagement. I don't think he's a good rapper. I think he's an interesting guy.
All right, since we're talking about rappers, I just need to know your top 5.
Yeah, we gotta hear it, or at least at that time.
All I care about is body. So Pac, I don't judge a rapper based on their lyrics. I judge a rapper based on their abs.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Pac. I would suck Pac's dick.
Unpopular opinion, I think Pac and A$AP Rocky are the two hottest rappers.
A$AP Rocky?
A$AP.
I'll tell A$AP that. A$AP. Oh my God, I wish I could show you the time I interviewed A$AP.
Oh, yeah? What was it like?
That's the only, well, maybe the only time, but it was the first time he ever hit a chillum. Like a glass one hitter.
Yeah.
I brought him the glass one hitter. Yeah, we smoked weed together. That's when he was still very young. Had a great time, and now he's got babies. I still don't have any babies.
What does that mean for him having babies?
He has
Like
the
he
one with
changed?
Rihanna. That's it.
The second one is on the way.
Mm-hmm.
We saw on Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that that's the second one. I didn't know she gave birth. I thought it was the same one. My bad.
Yeah, it's the same one.
She announced her pregnancy in Super Bowl. That's why everybody went crazy. Like, nobody knew she was pregnant again.
Are you joking? She was like 100 months pregnant. Nobody noticed that?
No, she was just not out. Like, nobody knew. And literally, that's why they call him ASAP. Like, first baby out, ASAP. Second one.
No, it stands for Assassinate Snitches and Police. That's what ASAP stands for. They don't tell anyone that because it's kind of bad, but that's what it actually stands for.
Oh, for real? That's crazy.
Wow. Thank you. This is like new information that I can brag about, knowing about this. ASAP. Assassinate.
Snitches and police.
Crazy.
Which is good advice.
It's very American. I'll give you that. It's very American.
You should, I don't know, man. It's either you should become a comic or you should have a podcast of your own, because all of this from the start of the podcast, they're all like, you know.
You have a hilarious deadpan, man. You know, because you're just saying like, wow, you're like, yeah, you should assassinate snitches and police. But in the deadpan, it's so funny.
Make a lot of clips from, you know, just, I don't know how many.
Every minute here is a clip, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Every minute here is a clip.
You guys missed it. Like, as soon as he said assassinate snitches and police, I saw Archer throw up like a gang sign over there.
Dog is getting into gangs.
Oh, man. So, from LA to New York, how's it feeling? Well, you started in New York, Rap Genius, and then you went up to LA. Like, are you still hanging out with Tom and Alon?
No. Well, we haven't spoken since 2015, but this was actually an early source of our contention. Was the location. I never really vibed with it being in New York. Then we got Y Combinator. One thing people don't know that they really don't want me to tell people, when we got Y Combinator, Ilan didn't come. Because Ilan was hypnotizing Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Okay, you need to.
You don't see how that in deadpan was fucking hilarious.
The scary thing is it's true.
No, but what do you mean by that, though?
He was making like $10,000 a month hypnotizing rich New York people, including Mary-Kate.
To do what? Like
for like therapeutic reasons?
Mary-Kate was to quit smoking, and Ashley was to stop eating bread.
This is some
Wait a
Rasputin.
minute,
This is some
weird.
fucking
why I
Rasputin
wanted to write
and
the
Tsar
Rap
Nicholas
Genius
shit, bro.
All of this is in the Rap Genius book, which I never published. I can give it to you, the Google Doc.
Do you know that there's actually a Rap Genius book, though? Do you know? It's out.
He said he wrote it. He said
I
he
wrote a
wrote.
Rap Genius book, and then I got the same agent as the I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell.
All right.
So and Kat Marnell, what's her thing, like Adderall Diaries or whatever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'm gonna get like $1 million book deal, but then he's like, no, you're canceled. So
Oh.
I get shit. And then I was gonna self-publish it, but for whatever reason I didn't. Instead, I self-published my poetry book, which sold a lot of copies, but people were like, "This isn't what we expect. We thought you were gonna talk about Rap Genius." So.
Dude, I can't wait. The Communistagram, like, you should use the book, like, to get people on it. Because I would join.
You're saying I should put out the Rap Genius book as like as to get people to sure.
Yeah.
I should just publish that thing at some point. But the thing is, right now the book still has a lot of love, so I would have to go back and just like change all the love parts to like vengeance and hate. I wrote that book back in 2014. Like
I
ever
see.
since then, like the hatred in my heart has increased.
Has crystallized
Yeah,
and gotten
manifold.
stronger. It's like,
Yeah.
the dark side of the force.
But
It's so crazy how wacky Tom and Ilan are, and now Tom just does pottery, and Ilan has a kid.
Well, no, Tom has a website called capsule21.com, which is like actually the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. So another thing that we got into fights about was Bitcoin, because I told both of them to invest in Bitcoin in 2013, right after Balaji told me. Balaji came to the Rap Genius office, and Tom treated him. So Tom's walking. I'm like, yo, Tom, meet Balaji. He's a partner at Andreessen Horowitz. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time right now. He was like, oh, you're Indian. Like, I'm not going to talk to you. And so then a month later, we met with Ben Horowitz. I was like, yo, Ben, is Balaji the real deal? And he's like, Balaji's the next Einstein. So I'm like, see, Tom, I told you that guy's important. You thought that he's like not white enough for you to meet with. So like, yeah, I want to tweet that. And then so now they never invested in Bitcoin. I wrote the Rap Genius book. Tom wanted to read it. I said, I won't let you read it unless you give me 15 Bitcoin. So he's like, done. So he gave me 15 Bitcoin to read the Rap Genius book, which never even got published.
Oh my God, how much are the 15 Bitcoin worth now? Like what, 300K?
I should be able to do this in my head. Yeah, around that. It's pretty good.
That's a good number.
Pretty good mental math. So thanks, Tom. Thanks for the 15 book. And then he's like, I love this book. Because the book that I wrote it didn't have hatred. I got to go back and edit it.
That's going to be his blurb. I love this book. Tom Lemon.
But then the actual book was very different.
The Bitcoin he gave me, so I'm like, you're going to buy more for yourself, right? And he's like, no, fuck this shit. So he basically I don't think he owns any Bitcoin. I think he had about like 20 Bitcoin, and he gave 15 of them to me. So he's got maximum 5 Bitcoin. But then he got really into Ethereum. He's like, oh, I like Ethereum. And that's why now he's doing NFTs, which for me, that's like the reason why I don't want anything to do with crypto. I think NFTs are the biggest crock of shit I've ever experienced. Living in New York, you've got a lot of people who like wanted to be crypto fakers, but they don't have any Bitcoin. So they were like in New York, I went to crypto parties where people were like, NFTs are the real Bitcoin. So I was just like, goodness, I wanted to even distance myself from Bitcoin, but like, now it seems like there's actually a purpose to it aside from the marketing.
Mm-hmm. So I remember, Mahbod, you mentioned before we started the podcast that a lot of stuff is going down Monday. Like some serious Bitcoin, like legal banky stuff is happening. So
Balaji says there's going to be a civil war. Balaji said that there's going to be a civil war in the United States on Monday. So. And he predicted coronavirus in January 2020. He was like, I think coronavirus is going to like cause the government to take over and everyone's going to start working from home.
Mm-hmm. Balaji also predicted Elon's gonna get hair plugs. He's the real deal.
They're best friends. Yeah, when Balaji posts things on Twitter, all the billionaires are like commenting, like PG and Elon and Balaji's the god. I hooked him up with his wife. Or I don't know if they're still together, but I hooked him up with his baby mama. So you're welcome, Balaji. She had me on her. Well, she didn't have me on her podcast. She interviewed me right before I met Balaji. So I was like,
who was this?
What's her name? I forgot her name, but she's a Hapa. She was like the Hapa cutie doing like tech coverage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand Hapa. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Half Asian. Half Asian, Pacific. I don't know.
Half Asia Pacific.
I don't know what it stands for.
I'm just glad that this one has nothing to do with killing the police.
Assassinate. Asian, no.
Asia Pacific.
Yeah, Asian Pacific Police. No. Asian Police. Assassinate Asian Police.
Well, you were talking about something that Y Combinator doesn't want you to tell people was about your friend that was hypnotizing. So back on that matter, what was your?
Yeah, he didn't come for the first 2 months of Y Combinator. He wasn't there. It was just me and Tom hitting the vape, and I was annotating Lil B the Bass God lyrics. They weren't even getting any traffic.
But why?
So can you explain to me? There was this lyric I always never understood from Lil B the Bass God where he says, "Shout out to the WNBA. You got some fine ass bitches. I want to fuck in the mouth." Could you explain that one to me?
He's got a song called "I'm a Lesbian."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also, he's got another song called "I'm Ellen DeGeneres." So a lot of times, like one of the themes in his music, he says, "I'm a lesbian because I love to fuck women," and that's kind of how I feel. Like I'm always like I'm not a man, but I really want to fuck women. So, like, I'm a lesbian.
Yeah. Drake said that recently too. On
really?
Yeah. Drake was basically biting a lyric from Cameron. Who's that's the rapper so Cameron says, "You don't like men, me neither. What a coinky ding."
Yeah, and then Drake said, how do you say it? Like,
he said it in a more
"You're a
artless
lesbian, go
way.
me too."
Yeah.
Something like that.
Wyatt is always finding a way to does his Drake impersonation.
Drake is the type. Drake that type of. But I mean, I love Drake, but Drake is silly.
Have you met Drake?
No, that's my white whale. Never had anything to do with Drake because his manager when Rap Genius was famous was Cortez Bryant, who at the time he was like basically Drake is not going to have a verified account on Rap Genius unless you give him 50% of the company.
Ooh. And what did you say? What did you
Drake
reply?
never got into startup investing at that time, but then now he does it. Now he invested in a bunch of sports betting and things like that.
Yeah, he has some startup, right? Well, what's Drake's startup?
I don't know. I know he's involved in fast food too. He's in Dave's Hot Chicken.
He's 30. What is he? 36, sitting on like 500 mil. Or maybe he's at $1 billion now. Who knows? I'm sure he's doing well, but he didn't invest in Rap Genius. That's why he'll never be as important to me as Nas. Nas is the Don, and Nas is the most. It's not an accident that the rapper who invested in my shit is the most handsome rapper.
Hey, I'm glad you say that. Nas and Drake are like brown, like rap gods. So
Nas
like,
is way more handsome than Drake, and then Nas also has a better body than Drake.
Also,
Drake
it would
is
make
like a
sense,
little-
right, for Nas to invest in Rap Genius because
He's
you
such
know,
a lyricist, you know?
Yeah.
Also because Nas doesn't give a shit about money, and Genius didn't make any money. It's
At
just
that
cool.
time, you just think it's a good idea.
They
I
never
mean,
made any money.
none of these
They
things.
didn't make any money at any time. That's
Like-
why I'm a broke ass motherfucker.
What do you mean? When Uber never made any money, Facebook is still in like not making money. Twitter's not making. Nothing makes money. Silicon Valley is not about making money, guys.
No, but
It's about pretending.
the
that you're
value,
making money.
though.
The things you just said, at least they had an event that made them, quote unquote, make a lot of money. Whereas Genius basically became officially known as worthless. It's
Yeah, but
really depressing.
How is it going? Wasn't it one of like the top like 50 sites?
No,
one
it
point?
crashed. So Google started stealing the lyrics. Then we sued Google. We lost the lawsuit. Then we sold it for basically nothing to the guy who owns WorldStar. One of the biggest assholes I've ever met. His dad.
Well, he owns World Star.
He's this fat white kid whose dad invented Inspector Gadget. So he grew up as like a annoying Nepo baby in Los Angeles.
No, wait a minute.
And then I guess he likes rap music, so he decided to buy WorldStar and Dat Piff and now Genius.
That's
But
crazy.
those facts, like, it has nothing to do with one another. All those facts, like creating Inspector Gadget.
That means that his daddy was rich, so he's using daddy's money to buy these websites.
I see.
doesn't need
Now
to
I
make
understand.
money.
It's a term.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry
It's
about
called
that.
a Nepo baby. He's a nepo baby, and I've always hated him because he's friends with a lot of Persians, so he knows all of like the Persian LA startup people, like the Tinder guy and stuff. Fuck him. Yeah, but I'm suing him. I'm suing him right now, suing the shit out of him, and hopefully I can take his ass to court. The one cool thing he's doing is after he bought Genius, he said he's going to continue the lawsuit against Google. And Genius's lawsuit against Google is actually going to the Supreme Court, which I think is interesting, you know, for me.
So what's the case on the Supreme Court? That's very interesting.
Is Google allowed to steal the lyrics from Genius? They're not geniuses. They don't belong to Genius. That's why they're saying we can't steal them from him. But then they're stealing it from Genius. Like if Genius didn't exist, they wouldn't have it. So it's kind of like Yelp. Yelp sued Google. I think that also went to the Supreme Court. Because Yelp, it was very similar. Yelp had the pictures of the businesses that Google was stealing, but they don't belong. Like if you take a picture of someone's business, it doesn't belong to you necessarily.
Yeah, I remember Google made it harder to save images after that too. Like this content aggregation by Google is like a big problem for a lot of websites because then you don't need to go to the website itself.
Yelp basically got fucked. Yelp sued. It went, you know, the court. It went all the way to the Supreme Court and everything, and they still didn't get any help. So they're still around, but they basically got crippled. Like it's never going to be as big as they thought it was going to be. And then now I think the Genius lawsuit is a little bit stronger than the Yelp lawsuit because they can't straight up prove that Google stole their pics, but we can straight up prove that Google stole our lyrics. Even though they don't belong to us, we can prove that they stole it from us.
Interesting, yeah. Hey, big things coming for Genius.
That's a very interesting philosophical argument too, which is why I want to know what it went to the Supreme Court for, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when this happened, I was so excited. We're suing because I love lawsuits, but Google wanted to buy Genius for $750 million. So I could be living in this apartment, but instead I'm living in Brooklyn, and I could be shopping at Whole Foods, but instead I'm shopping at Trader Joe's. But you know what? It's good to live a simple life. Maybe I should be grateful that I didn't get all this money from Google. Instead I'm suing this fat kid with a rich dad for scraps.
Yeah, and you get to meet poor people, right? You said you like poor people better.
Well, also I like suing Nepo baby. It's better to just get a little bit of money from this Nepo baby, but at least I'm getting it in an aggressive way. Whereas like, it's like, oh, thanks for the check, Google. I love you. I love Chrome.
For a person who says that previously, I mean, before we did the taping, for a person who says that you're not, you don't understand the technology behind doing podcasts, you have a lot of strong opinion about podcasters. It seems like Rogan.
Not a big fan. I've hardly even seen any episodes. I watched the Kanye Rogan episode. I was like, wow, this is honestly the most useless 3 hours I've ever spent in my life. And I watched Kanye and Alex Jones.
Oh my
I was like,
God,
at least this is not as bad as Kanye and Rogan. Like Kanye,
it wasn't as boring, yeah.
it was,
we better
that was
clip
like
that.
that was the vanilla version. Rogan is just basically like woke Alex Jones. Is that what he is? He's kind of like, he's like, I'm incel. Like I'm a bald guy who looks like a trapezoid, and I take a lot of steroids. I'm not going to like actually say anything that will make Spotify not
It's
give
like
me
a
$400 million.
trapezoid.
Yo, that is just the craziest set of sentences I've ever heard. That's crazy. It's crazy because I know Wyatt is still thinking about going on Joe Rogan's podcast.
He should change his name to Joe Rogan.
Rogan.
And he could get probably $1 billion sponsorship from Rogan.
No, why would Rogan sponsor him? He has zero
He's bald,
hair on
yeah.
his head. Like he's the failure
Get
story of
hair
Rogan.
plugs, change your name to Joe Rogan, make $1 billion.
We all remember when he used to have hair too. I used to watch Fear Factor.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, I gotta watch that.
Actually, when I close my eyes and I think of Rogan, the first image was the Fear Factor Rogan.
Yeah. I didn't even know that he was like a comedian at that time when I was a kid and I watched
me
that.
too, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But now the scariest thing about that show is that you had to hang out with Joe Rogan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, the big incel comic, what was his name? Hey, Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh yeah, Andrew Dice Clay.
He started all of this shit.
Yeah.
I never fucked with him.
He was he. I think he did several specials at the Madison Square Garden on the time of his peak. I
Yeah,
think.
he really could draw. Like that man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is if you tap into the incel community, you really can draw.
Wow.
That's what we need to do, dude.
Wyatt will do that.
I'm not a fan. That's the thing. Like most of these, the incel heroes, Andrew Tate is another. Like when Andrew Tate first became famous, all these people were hitting me up. They're like, "Oh, you must love Andrew Tate," and I'm like, first of all, I would never love a guy who doesn't have hair. So that's just like step. So I'm like, you want me to love this bald guy? And then the bald guy is saying that women should be in the kitchen. I'm like, what's interesting about this? So
I'm still stuck at Incel Hero. I think we should make a T-shirt out of it.
Incel Hero?
Yeah, think about it.
With people like on it, like the Mount Rushmore of incel heroes. Who would be the Mount Rushmore of incel heroes?
it's tough.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Rogan, Andrew Tate, Elliot Rodger.
I don't think
Trump.
like
Trump.
Trump has an incel fan base. That's really.
Oh yeah, Trump is the OG incel hero. Who else? Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo, I forgot about Milo. So Milo's another one. Like, so I guess philosophically I disagree with him, but he always used to invite me to like his champagne after parties, and then afterwards he would text me. He's like, "If you ever want to butt fuck me, do it." So like, and like when a gay guy has a crush on me, I get so flattered because it's like, thanks for having good taste. Can you please talk to women?
Oh my god.
please talk to women.
Gay guys love me,
Influence them.
by the way. Like every gay guy wants to fuck me. So, shouts out to the gays. Love them. I wish I were gay.
Hashtag pride.
Nah, you're a lesbian. You can't be gay.
Yeah, exactly. And shouts out to lesbians. All my best law professors were all lesbian. Kathleen.
This man has a history.
This is the most like fucking wild shit that I've ever heard.
Yo,
in a completely just like monotone.
My law professor, who's like one of the most, she did Lawrence v. Texas, which is like the gay rights case. Legend. And then she was supposed to be on the Supreme Court, but then she failed the California bar, which I also failed. So.
What? How were you supposed to be on the Supreme Court, but then you'd fail the bar? How does that make sense?
How did you even get to that stage when you were considered?
Because the California bar is bullshit. She was teaching at Stanford, and she started working at a firm, Quinn Emanuel, pretty big firm, and then she failed the California bar. It was in the news, became a big deal. But she is the best. I love her. Also a very early Rap Genius supporter. She showed us love.
Nice.
Yo,
Yeah.
if we only make 3 clips out of this episode, I'd be very upset.
No, dude, this shit is definitely... People would like some of this. Like, Joe Rogan looks like a bald trapezoid. That's hilarious.
Yo, considering Joe Rogan is an incel hero, this is going to get a lot of traction this episode.
Bruh.
Yeah. Although, I don't know. You also were talking about Lloyd. What was it? Wasn't it Lloyd?
Andrew Lloyd.
Andrew Lloyd, was it? You were talking about someone else.
Andrew Tate.
No. Another podcaster.
Lex Friedman.
Oh, maybe Lex
Yeah,
Friedman.
Lex
He has
Friedman.
autism. I've never even listened. I've never listened to his podcast, but just based on him on social media, he just seems like the autist, bro. But then I guess, is he handsome? Like some girls have a crush on him. Like he's like the autist Chad.
So this guy, by the way, Mahbod went to Yale and then law for Stanford and is one of the most successful tech people. Just for context, guys. This is how...
No MIT though. That's
No
where
MIT.
Lex went to MIT, right?
yes, that's why he's autistic.
Pretty courage of you to say that.
At this point, I feel like, we just keep bringing up topics, but we should just be out in the open. Do you have anyone else you want to shit on? Any enemies that you just want to publicly
many.
call out?
I just hate rich people, like right now on Monday there's going to be civil war. Like seriously.
Yeah, so tell us, you were telling us that before we started rolling. Everyone knows that Trump might be arrested, but tell us what you were saying earlier.
Well, also the banks might all fail. Either all the banks are going to fail, or there's a very real possibility that the government's going to say that they're going to guarantee every single bank, which would basically be communism.
Which is also insane because even in 2008, only one bank failed, and now they're just toppling.
I'm not sure. I think so in 2008, I think they still had to print enough money to give people. I don't remember people saying take your money out of the bank in 2008 though. Also back then FDIC was not 250K. I think it was 100K. That's what I remember when I was a kid. It was always 100K. But one thing that was fucked about 2008 was that Warren Buffett gave the banks a loan, which was they're like, all right, Warren Buffett's going to give you the loan, but it is government guaranteed too. And then, surprise, surprise, everything became good again. And then Warren Buffett basically doubled his money by acting as the trustworthy private person who's going to give the banks a government guaranteed loan. And he's still alive. I think the main purpose of this podcast should be, we got to get rid of Warren Buffett. Every day I wake up and I'm just I check, is he still alive? Also, Charlie Munger is still alive, and he looks like a bug-eyed freak. I think he's almost 100. And he built the dorms for Stanford Law School. And Stanford Law School used to have its own gym.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then because he wanted to build these luxury dorms, they shut down the law school's gym. He's bringing money, but then ironically, him bringing the money requires them shutting down the gym, which is where I was listening to rap and smoking weed. I was the only person who used the law schools. And then instead, the fancy dorm he built has a 24-hour supermarket. So it's thanks for making Stanford Law fatter, Charlie.
I'm trying to understand what happened with the banks, though. I don't really watch news. So what is going on? Why is it there's no cash?
The banks bought treasuries that are basically worthless because interest rates went up so much. So because the government acted very strangely, all except for the biggest banks bought things that basically totally fucked them up. And the reason they bought those things, though, was they're trying to make the most money they can. But it was the government's fault. They raised rates more than anyone expected, so they messed everyone up. So now they feel bad. But the first one that started it was the tech bank, but that's just because some of their investors were sophisticated. So they just figured out that all the banks are fucked. It's what else are you going to do, You can't just... I guess all you can really do is buy Bitcoin. Seriously. I mean...
Yeah. Dude, you know that woman, Pivot? The one who hosts Pivot, the podcast?
Kara Swisher?
Kara Swisher. Yeah.
I hate her.
She
Surprise.
She lost 2,000 Bitcoin. She lost the hard drive. That all her Bitcoin.
Kara Swisher is probably the only lesbian I don't like. It really, you have to wake up.
Every time we bring up a person, I'm literally on the edge of my seat. I'm excited for the first sentence you're going to say about them.
When we're talking about someone...
Bring up any other lesbian, I'm going to say.
This is why I would watch your Wikipedia over Wikipedia, because you would just be only lesbian I don't like.
I told her, I was it's really, really hard to be a lesbian, and I still don't like you. It's just amazing.
Okay, Chamat's podcast versus Kara's podcast.
Chamath has a podcast too?
All In with Chamat and all the other 4 billionaires.
Yeah, I've never listened to any of this stuff. Chamath, I don't know. Didn't he run for governor of California or whatever? That was kind of weird, but I like that he tweets like shirtless selfies. He's got a good body. I fucks with him.
Oh man, I ran into him at Italy once.
He lives in New York?
No, I think he was just visiting, but he's like really into Italy. Yeah, that's my Chamath story, guys.
He probably comes to New York to like he's on Tinder Passport.
Passport?
So like when he gets a match here, he flies in.
Bro, his daughter's like 6 months, dude.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. Sorry, Chamath.
You know,
and he's my age, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's my age, and he's a billionaire, and he has a baby. And I don't have a kid, and I'm not a billionaire.
With this podcast, you're
but
1
at
inch
least
closer.
I have a 6-pack, too. So, got 1 out of 3, Chamath.
Do you know that principle? That principle. I don't know if principle is the right word, but that's the saying that the person that should be the president is the person who doesn't want to be the president. You know that saying?
Yeah.
I feel like Mahbod is like that, but for podcast, the person that really should have a podcast is a person who doesn't like podcasts.
No,
You know what's wild? I think you could have a
smokes too much
solo
weed.
podcast. That's what's wild. You could just like have a list of like complaints and grievances about everything and just go on and on.
That was my Hella Doge. My Hella Doge was basically my solo podcast, and no one even reads it.
So what is Hella Doge? Can you tell us?
Hella Doge was me trying to make it so that you get paid to use social media. That's my dream. My dream vision in life is I think you should be paid to use social media.
Based on what argument? Why are you saying
So something like a creator fund.
It was inspired by Andrew Yang. He uses the word data dividend. So that's the main thing I'm thinking of. And I've got a whole system planned out for it. Like Hella Doge gives users 80% of the revenue. 2/3 goes to creators, 1/3 goes passive audience.
passive
So
audience?
everyone's getting money. And there's a minimum to withdraw. We do a KYC when you withdraw. It's not going to be like Dayso. So Dayso is the paid. Dayso is like Silicon Valley's dirty version. That's what inspired me to build this. Is what I was on Dayso. Hey, guess what? I hate the CEO of Dayso.
Hell yeah!
That guy sucks.
It keeps coming, you guys.
We need to do a shot every time a boat says he hates somebody.
he's
We're
just-
all gonna be dead by the
Did you
end.
see his eyes when he was about to say, "Yo, you know what?"
No, bro. I'm pretty sure just every time some shit happens to him and someone he liked, now he doesn't like him, he's gonna shoot me a text on Instagram. It's like another one.
He went to Princeton and he was rowing. He was on the rowing team, and then
You have such specific details.
Ben Horowitz. Oh, I'm like kind of obsessed with this guy because he's hot, but he's like he's annoying. He's fake. So Ben Horowitz gave him $100 million to build Basis, which was Basis was basically the shitty version of Frax, which is what Everpedia turned into.
Yeah.
And he gave all the money back. They gave him $100 million,
Dumbass.
and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give it back because I went to Princeton, so I'm too scared." So instead, he decided to. So Dayso is basically the shitcoin version of what I want to build, and I'm against shitcoins. So I thought that it could be like that, but it gives you Bitcoin. That's what I wanted. But then I met this guy. He's like, "I won't do it with Bitcoin, but I'll do it with Dogecoin, and then we can get Elon Musk to invest." And this was before Elon had bought Twitter. So then they're like, "Oh, Elon might buy Twitter. Or maybe he'll invest in Hella Doge." But I never invested in Dogecoin. I think it's kind of weird that it has such high inflation and like it has all these whales that are like Euro trash clubbers. So
I only have like the main like Light, Ethereum, Bitcoin, but then the day before SNL, my cousin was like, "Oh, you have to buy some Dogecoin. It's gonna go up like because Elon is going on SNL." And I bought I think $500 worth of Dogecoin. That shit is $25 right now. It's so bad.
sorry.
That work like literally. I
sucker.
should have just invested that in like restoration hardware. We like triple right now.
Some like Latvian club guy made $500 off of you, and he's using that for bottle service at the club. Those are the kind of people who are the whales of Dogecoin. They own like billions of Dogecoin, and then like whenever the price goes up, they just sell a little bit to the suckers. That's why the price never goes up that much. They artificially let it go up to 69 cents when Elon was on SNL as a joke, just to show that they have control.
It's like AMC all over again.
It's not an accident. Also, Bitcoin's high was 69. They do that as a joke because they're insults. That's the reason why I want to just distance myself. Even though I do think, like, so, you know, if there's a civil war, I'm glad I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I started talking shit about Bitcoin a couple months ago, but I didn't sell my Bitcoin. I sold some Ethereum. But I think Bitcoin's going to be like gold. I don't want to be known as the gold guy. Maybe I'll invest in some gold. But the reason why I wanted to be known as the Bitcoin guy is I thought that this could end poverty. I thought you can give it to people for using social media. But no one wants Bitcoin to use social media because they don't trust it. They think it's like NFTs and it's bullshit. And it's nerdy and incel.
So what are you going to give? You can give Venmo?
Venmo is what crypto... And then the bad thing about Venmo, apparently they shut a lot of people off. So, like, you know, whenever I tell an incel I want to use Venmo for Web3, they're like, hey, Venmo can shut you off. It's like, well, yeah, that part sucks. But at the same time, like, teenagers think Venmo is cool. So if the CEO of Genius said, if we pay people $10 for putting up the lyrics, they're going to be like, hey, I just worked for 50 cents an hour. This sucks. That's why he didn't want to pay. But I think that if you Venmo someone $10 for putting up the lyrics, they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Interesting.
Kind of makes sense.
Based.
You can have different options, you know. You got like they have those tokens you can redeem for like a gift card or Venmo or like dirty underwear.
Yeah. Gift card was the original. So before any of there was the first ever Web3 website before even Google existed was called swagbucks.com.
I remember. Yeah.
I remember that.
You watch.
I remember
commercial.
Swagbucks.
All brown kids remember Swagbucks.
I've smoked hella bud with the founder of Swagbucks. He lived in Malibu.
Is
I love
this
that
shit
guy.
still around? Swagbucks.
He was the first person I emailed when I came up with Communistagram because I really want him to invest. But yeah, they give you Amazon gift cards. So
Do they still exist?
yes, and
No way. I have some Swagbucks. Let's
it's-
go check it out.
it's one of the websites that is the most used by like 60 and 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds.
That checks out.
Why is that?
I don't know. For whatever reason, they really. Also, I think it's very popular in like the Midwest and.
I see.
It has good deals. Like I know all of my like uncles and aunts, like they really like Swagbucks for like big purchases, and they've recommended it.
Shouts out to them. I met the founder. So
you don't hate the founder of Swagbucks?
I love that guy. No one hates him because he's also a very famous photographer. He takes photos of like famous musicians.
Nice.
But
Male Annie Leibovitz.
I was at MuckerCon, who were the first investors in Everpedia, and this guy sees me and he goes, "Hey, you seem like the type of guy who smokes weed." And I was like, "Yee!" So he's like, "Come take a walk with me." So we went for a walk, and like he just like gave me like hit after hit of his vape. I got so high. He's like, "Yeah, I started Swagbucks. Da da da. Now I'm, he's like, now I'm just living in Malibu smoking weed." So I was like, "Dude, you're the man." So then we got back to MuckerCon. They had like really fancy roasted vegetables. So I ate probably like 2 or 3 pounds of the roasted vegetables. And my stomach's just like hurting because I had the munchies. And then Will, who's the head of Mucker, he's a billionaire too now. He was drunk. So he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing after Rap Genius?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm unemployed." And he's like, "Start a company. I'll give you money." And I was like, "Wow, is he just saying this because he's drunk?" But then that's how Everpedia got funding. Is he told me.
Wow.
He told me he'll give me funding for any company I bring him, and he did it.
Nice. That's
And
how
then
it goes.
I asked him to give me funding for Hella Doge, Silence.
I think he didn't like his Everypedia page. That's what happened.
He just got too rich. He was the investor in Honey. Honey was a mucker company which got sold for $5 billion. That's a bigger exit. I believe that's a bigger exit than anything in Y Combinator history.
Yeah, that's a really big number.
It actually might be bigger than all the YC exits combined.
Wow.
$5 billion fucking dollars.
Huge.
So.
That's a good number. WhatsApp was not a Y Combinator, right? WhatsApp? That was not a Y Combinator product.
They wish. Oh, man.
Oh, dude.
No, the WhatsApp guys, they didn't even take any funding, or not like that kind of funding. That's why they made so much money.
Their exit was insane.
How much was it?
19 billion. They had just bought Instagram for 1 billion. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're buying Instagram for 1 billion." And then WhatsApp was like, "Hold my beer." Still, I think WhatsApp for 19 billion was probably too much. I don't care how many people use WhatsApp. It's just a commodity service.
But like, you know, if you look at it in like, especially in India, maybe Indonesia, to outside of the US, like people don't have iPhones. The blue text is like everybody's using WhatsApp. And like when I went home, there are like ads on WhatsApp now. It's a very different experience than it is in the US.
Yeah.
Like because everybody's using it and they like really are just scraping data like crazy, much worse than Instagram and Facebook. WhatsApp is like their biggest moneymaker right now, if you look at it, because of how much data they're able to scrape and how many ads they're able to just like squeeze in outside of the US. The numbers alone, India and China, bro.
Yeah, there's no ads in Indonesian WhatsApp. Like there are ads in the US, WhatsApp US.
No, in Indian
Oh, in
WhatsApp.
Indian. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and there's just so much fake.
How are they making money? WhatsApp?
So you've got like as part of the text, you receive somebody's text, and then there's like a text-based ad where you think somebody texted you that, but it says promoted in the end, and it's just like an ad.
Yeah, but it's only making money in India then, because there's no ad.
No, but like all the data, like Facebook is not in the business of like making money from social media. They're in the business of making money from the data they get from the social media.
Oh, so they sell the data.
Yeah.
Oh, they're allowed to?
iPhone made it harder, but I guess WhatsApp has more of the non-iPhone users. So
That's the rest of the world. Yeah.
making some money off the poor. Thanks, Zuck. Love you, bro.
On that note, I think we're like near the end of our time. Is there anything specific you want to talk about? Anybody you want to cuss?
Mark Zuckerberg, fuck you. I want to restart my beef with him because right now, you know, Bitcoin's blowing up. So I feel I have a lot of hubris. So,
All right. Anything else? Maybe you want to shout out, or maybe something you want to say?
Plug, yeah.
Yeah.
shouts out to communism. Let's just make I think everyone in the world should get $1,000 a month just for using the internet. That's my vision. And you even get it when you're like 12 years old. When I was 12, 13 years old, when I was a teenager, all through high school, I applied to the Gap, I applied to Starbucks. I would have done anything for anything like that, but I couldn't get any jobs like that. So
No, I definitely know I can't go back to Indonesia with that. Communist. Indonesian they're really paranoid of
Really
communism.
anti-communist.
So,
Really.
so I was calling Helidoge communistagram, and when I use that word, people get really, really mad, especially like right-wing people. That's another reason I don't like cryptos, because crypto's kind of becoming a right-wing thing. But in other ways, communism's making a comeback. Like, shouts out to Grimes. Grimes really like, she put that picture on Instagram that she's reading the Communist Manifesto. So she made it like a thing for like the Brooklyn hipster cuties to like be into communism.
Yeah, starting the movement.
I like it. I know that historically it hasn't worked well, but ever since I was a little kid, I was just like, no one should be poor. And we have the capacity as a society for no one to be poor. So I really don't think anyone should be poor. Gosh darn it.
That's actually a very
Yeah,
wholesome way to end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good note. Right.
thank you so much for joining us here, Mahbod. If you want to plug something, now's the time.
If it launches, I've got some brilliant guys who are hopefully working on building Communistagram. So
Hey, can't wait. We'll be the beta users, dude.
workers of the world, or influencers of the world unite. You
Yeah.
have nothing to lose.
If you want to be a beta tester, just use the code FUCKZUCK and you'll be on there.
Influencers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your Zuck.